the way we've been running for the last 3,000 years, it's been very tribal in the sense that we're running on morality. We're running on a concept of, in this tribe, we eat this animal, and it's in another tribe that animal might be sacred, and then that's where the wars begin. But that benefited us, I guess, to a certain point when we were tribal. But now we're global, and we're becoming more and more global. So we have to start to transition away from this "my way is the only way" kind of idea. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I think you're right. The guides say self-righteousness is always the small self, or if you need to be right at the cost of somebody else being wrong, that's still the personality self seeking to reinforce itself, or the egoic structure. So, borders, they say, are created by us. I mean, they're man-made things, and we give meaning to these things, and we create walls in the belief that we need to stay separate from those people over there. And in doing so, we've kind of forgotten who they are. And the guides have said, we've denied the divine in the ones beside us for so long that we've also denied the divine in ourselves and in the source of all things. They've said about 1,000 times through me, at least, you can't be the light and hold another in darkness. Or who you put in darkness and what you put in darkness calls you to that darkness. That's a teaching of co-resonance. It's not a teaching of right and wrong and morality. Morality, as you said, seems to be pretty subjective from culture to culture. And I think when the guides speak about these things, they speak about truth. And they say what is true is always true. It's not about convenience. It's not about perhaps the mores of a culture at a specific time. 100 years ago, we treated each other very different. 300 years ago, we certainly treated each other very different. And these things continue to sort of play out. But when they say what is true is always true, they're going back to this idea that the divine self, or the aspect of you or anybody else that is eternal, is always true. And the reclamation of that is the key to sort of comprehending what expresses at a level of co-resonance with all other things. So in other words, if you think of the idea that God sees God in all of its creations, or the divine cannot deny the divine in anything else, because all things finally are of one source, you begin to move to a higher level of recognition. So I don't get that there's anything wrong with having your buds, or having your tribe, or having cultural requirements. I think all of those things are fine. I think when it becomes exclusive and denying others, it becomes more problematic. And that's always the schism of separation.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's so interesting, because, I mean, a perfect example is sometimes I've noticed since I've launched the show, I read the comments of things and people coming in, and most of them, I'm going to say majority of them, are very positive and very thankful. But when certain people feel threatened in regards to their beliefs, the story that they've taught themselves, or have been taught by either culture, by religion, by parents, by community, by country, they feel the need to defend. They feel the need, because their idea of the world is being challenged in their own mind by just merely saying something that doesn't align with them. So it is so fascinating to see why we need to do that. Like, my point of view is, like, if you believe the sky is purple, that's fine. That's up to you. If you believe the sky is purple and you wanna pray to the purple sky, that's all good. But don't push your beliefs on me. Let live in many ways. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you. I don't read the comments anymore.
Oh,
I mean, I used to. The very first time I was ever interviewed and I channeled, this would have been on some cable TV show maybe 12 years ago. And nobody knew who I was or what I did. I think the first book may have just come out. And there was no press on that at all. And I was channeling on air, and the comments were scathing. It's because I look nuts, and I know I look nuts, but I do. This is how it looks when I work. And I feel all that stuff because I'm clairsentient. So I was feeling all of this negativity. And I went to bed and I said to my guides, if you want me to do this work, why are you letting this happen? And their response was, well, as long as you care what people think about you, this is going to be an issue. It's pretty much my responsibility to deal with this. But, I'm not out there to make anybody else wrong. I was raised an atheist. I was a New York City kid. We went to therapy. We didn't go to church or temple or anything like that, It was beyond me. And when I started waking up at around age 25, for me, that was the equivalent of moving to another country. It's like, if that were true, nothing was the way I thought it was. All of my secular beliefs were suddenly up to be re-examined. What the guides are actually talking about now in their books, because they're almost 2/3 through the next one, which they started about a month ago, they talk about all of the cultural systems that we've been in accord to and how all of those systems pretty much grew out of a belief in separation. So all of our memory is sort of entrenched in this idea that we're separate from the one beside us and separate from source. So now they're really working on the reclamation of those things, because we can't keep perpetuating the old as we have, because according to them, we've chosen as a species to make it. We're going to move beyond this wall that we've erected, or above it, because you really can't go through it, but you can lift above it to a place where the wall does not exist. And that we're choosing this basically because we have to at this point. We can't go on as we were. We have the ability to blow ourselves to kingdom come, and according to them, we probably will if we keep going the way we're going. And we've decided not to, which is good news.
To watch the full video, click on the link below. And don't forget to subscribe.